Right, hi, so welcome. This is tip number 30. So I was doing 30 of these startup business tips of the day. Consistency has always been my greatest piece of advice, and 30 days straight, no days off. It's not difficult to whack out a video once a day, but importantly, these are pieces of advice given to me from the best-selling authors, from the professors at business schools around the world, and wonderful business leaders who really kindly helped me build my businesses, and of course, share a lot of information on the courses I've created over the last couple of years. So today's final tip, I wanted it to be a big one, and I wanted it to kind of resonate as a final tip as well. And it really is probably the most important thing, which is just get out there. You have got to get out there if you're going to be a startup business owner with some success about you. Because I see regularly people who spend a lot of time writing out lists, building up beautiful spreadsheets about, you know, projecting figures, organizing, planning, everything, but ultimately you've got to execute. You've got to get out there. You've got to start selling. You've got to start engaging. You cannot sit in your office all day, every day without lifting a phone, typing an email, meeting someone in person. If you don't get out there and engage with real people, then ultimately your business is just going to be unheard of. And as Grant Cardone would say, your biggest problem always is abundance. If you're in obscurity, then no one's going to be able to find you. Doesn't matter how great your product is. And sadly, so many businesses go south because they have a great product but are unable to get out there. And it's less a case that they're unable to, it's often a case they're unwilling to. That's the fear element, that's the lack of comfort zone, that kind of space. If you don't decide to put yourself in a position where you're going to go and meet people and evangelize about your product or service, if you're not willing to do that, and not just on, you know, an occasion, but literally every single day, you will end up with a business that does not grow sufficiently. It will plateau, and as many business models demonstrate, it will then fade into nothing. You have got to not just get out there as part of your routine, but you need, especially at the start, to make this probably the big thing that you do. And this goes hand in hand with this idea, this tip I gave earlier, of focusing on sales. Getting out there means for the majority of your time you are out building networks, speaking to people, getting people sharing your ideas, getting people through word of mouth to hear about you, but of course engaging with people who potentially might buy your product, try your product, or share insight into how you might improve your product. So the people you want to buy your stuff, you have to share with them. And if you're stubborn and you're holding back and you're hoping that people will come to you, you'll be waiting a long old time. And I promise you, look, I've got experience in over 15 years, especially with sales and marketing, as well as running my businesses. If you think for a moment that only working with adverts or only working with great posts on Instagram is going to generate an entire empire, you're going to miss out big time, okay? So use the thing you've got right here, go and speak to people, pick up the phone, type emails if you have to, just get an abundance going, because the more you put yourself out there, the more opportunities come your way. You know, what happens after doing this kind of thing is after a while, people start coming back to you and saying, someone mentioned you, I checked you out, I love what you're doing, can you give me some more information? I literally had one yesterday, someone saying, could you give me some more information about what it is you do? I then have someone come up to me and say, I would love to interview you. Someone else who says, you know, could I possibly do an article on you? Could you possibly do a guest podcast, I think it was, or something like that? All this kind of stuff, these opportunities come out if you are getting out there. So that is probably the biggest tip of all, and it brings everything together. I really enjoyed the 30 steps or 30 startup tips. If you've enjoyed them as well, The 8stepstartup.com website is soon to be flipped into the new one, which will have vast amounts of content like this, so keep your eyes peeled. In the meantime, you can go to my Facebook page, and of course you're on it right now, or YouTube channel. If not, click on this link down, I think it will be down here, and you'll be able to see the YouTube channel. But in the meantime, any questions, let me know. Moving on from this, rather than doing more tips every day, there'll be live Q&As that I'm doing instead, so you can keep submitting your questions and I'll try my best to go through them all. Thanks very much. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll speak to you again soon.